Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to HA After Dark. Hopefully, we don't have any issues. I'll fix any issues if there are any. But, oh, good, it's working. Fantastic. To my super chat, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. Let's get started. This is a very important segment. It's a very, very, very important segment. And please go ahead and share this if you're watching this for the first time after the upload. Share it if you're on this live chat. Please go ahead and share the link. Just if you didn't get the notification, and because it's a controversial or sensitive topic, let's make sure that the live chat nothing is even remotely offensive, because that's just YouTube policies, of course. President Trump already offered citizenship to close to 2 million people. Let me say this again. This is very important. And I'm going to read a Washington Post article. The guy who is known in some circles as an orange Mussolini or Cheeto, fascist, is offered citizenship to 1.8 million young people who, when they opened up their eyes, oftentimes the first thing they saw really was apple pie, baseball. They're American. So 1.8 million young undocumented immigrants. So President Trump is proposing, this is January 25th. So this is long before the caravan, long before this is 1 year of nonstop hatred, along with the year prior of nonstop hatred. Let's just read. President Trump is proposing a path to citizenship for an estimated 1.8 million young undocumented immigrants in exchange for hardline steps to increase border security and curb legal immigration, a trade-off swiftly opposed by Democrats. Now, it's interesting. Democrats make the assumption that immigrants are going to vote for them, just like they made the assumption that because demographics are changing, they'll win the White House, they'll win the House, they'll win the Senate, they'll win state legislatures, they'll win governors' mansions, all of which are not true. Over 30 governors, over 30 state legislatures, the House, the Senate, the executive, and now the Supreme Court are run by conservatives. 30% of Latinos voted for Trump. You're going to see a greater percentage of minorities vote for Trump. The demographic shift that Democrats claim help them, the demographic shift that Democrats claim will help them actually isn't going to help them. Major bills. How many attempts at landmark legislation? Maybe 3 in the past decade. President Trump is proposing a path to citizenship for an estimated 1.8 million young undocumented immigrants in exchange for hardline steps to increase border security and curb legal immigration. So what's the problem? They said, well, you know what? We're going to pass the buck. We're not going to negotiate with Trump. He's never going to get his wall because that'll be a victory, and we can't have him with a victory. And you know what? A fence is better. Hillary Clinton wanted a fence. And she talked about illegal immigration a lot. So Hillary Clinton wants a fence, and a fence is a lot better. It's less offensive. A fence is less offensive. Trump's support for Dreamers who have been in the country illegally since they were children represents a significant concession to Democrats. I'm going to read this from the Washington Post of all places. From the Washington Post of all places. Okay? This is actually a statement that is pretty is accurate. It's not, you know, fake news in any way. Trump's support for Dreamers who have been in the country illegally since they were children represents a significant concession to Democrats and was intended as a compromise to help break the impasse over immigration in Congress. White House aide said the plan offers a citizenship pass to more than twice as many Dreamers as were enrolled in a deferred action program Trump terminated in September, a move that is likely to engender fierce blowback among conservatives. But in a sign of how fraught the prospects for an immigration deal remain, the proposal was met with disdain from House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, as well as members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Why? Why the disdain? In addition to the citizenship path that would take 12 years, the White House framework includes a $25 billion trust fund for a border wall and additional security upgrades in the southwestern and northwestern U.S. borders. And the president is proposing terminating the ability of U.S. citizens to petition for permanent legal residency for parents, limiting the family visas to spouses and minor children. Well, you know what? They could have negotiated that. Pelosi called the deal ransom in pursuit of an end. See, again, they're so hyperbolic, and they could have negotiated. But they didn't think, they thought Trump would be impeached from the Mueller probe. So they didn't want to negotiate. He plays hardball. He would have negotiated. So, I mean, if the point is, oh, we're going to stop and resist Trump, at what point, at what point do Democrats realize they're hurting their own constituents? He's now going to build the wall regardless of what Democrats say. He's going to win the House. The House is going to remain Republican on November 6, 2018. Be here. And then Representative Luis Gutierrez said it doesn't pass the laugh test. What's so funny about 2 million Dreamers becoming citizens? This is what the Democratic Party does. It's their way or the highway. It is just they control the country, even though they really don't. Democrats, if you ask a Democrat, it's our way or any other way is the wrong way. We're never going to negotiate. We're never going to talk about, he is saying he's willing to go 2 million Dreamers. And then he said, well, and then the Democrats say, it would be far easier to erect a 50-foot concrete statue of a middle finger and point. What? That doesn't make any sense. Because both a wall and a statue would equally be offensive. Okay, who cares about being offensive? It's something that he wants. And both would express Trump's deeply held suspicion of Latinos. Well, no. 30% of Latinos voted for Trump. And he is offering 1.8 million people citizenship. If you didn't like different aspects of his deal, then negotiate. But they didn't negotiate in good faith. They're like, well, you know what? We'll negotiate for a second. And, well, we don't like it. We're just going to wait for Mueller. Maybe the Mueller probe will derail his presidency. Democrats are losing their base. You talk about Trump's base is growing. And now the Mexican government is not allowing the caravan through because it's part of Mexican national security. You know, Mexico has its own national security concerns, Democrats, and they're different from yours. They're different from your political party's concerns. I love how people on the left never think that it's against Mexico's national interest for that caravan to just simply go unimpeded. Senior White House officials who have reported on the deal describes the plan as the result of months of meetings with lawmakers after Trump terminated The Obama era deferred action for child arrivals program, which has provided work permits for 690,000 Dreamers. The bulk of their permits will begin to expire March 5th. The officials said that the president, host McConnell, will bring a bill based on the framework to the floor the week of February 6th. Okay, so officials said Thursday the citizenship path would be open to anyone who had been eligible for DACA, even the hundreds of thousands of Dreamers who never applied. The Migration Policy Institute has estimated that up to 1.3 million Dreamers were eligible for DACA last year, with another 600,000 who could become eligible if they met certain requirements. So there are aspects of Trump's proposal that perhaps the Democratic Party is against. Where is the national dialogue? Where is the dialogue? Trump was offering a great deal. Denise, I agree 100% with you. And the thing is, Trump was offering a deal. That's the part that's lost. He was offering a deal. This is a Business Insider article, how Trump and the Democrats tanked what was likely their last chance to make a deal on the Dreamers this year. Well, it's not Trump who, it's not Trump who flubbed or messed it up. It's Pelosi. The Democratic Party, they're the ones who claim to speak on behalf of undocumented immigrants. Congress and President Trump failed once again to cut an immigration deal as part of spending negotiations. Lawmakers are pushing for a $1.3 trillion spending deal that was considered the last chance this year to pass a deal on the young unauthorized immigrants known as Dreamers. Trump also missed his chance to secure $25 billion for his border wall, but he's still slowly slowly finding ways to fund the border wall. The White House initially offered a roughly 3-year DACA extension in exchange for $25 billion in border wall funding. Democrats appeared amenable to the $25 billion figure, but rejected the offer because it provided a pathway to citizenship for only about 700,000 DACA recipients, not the full 1.8 million population of young unauthorized immigrants. Yeah, but he offered full citizenship to 1.8 million if you funded the wall. So now it's just vanity. Now they just care about vanity. They just care about pride. They don't care about people. President Trump, Dickie Durbin's the best. President Trump created this crisis. But instead of, it's so blatantly, shameless. They just, nobody buys Dickie Durbin's, especially with, the Kavanaugh hearing. They're so overtly, a caricature of what a corrupt politician would say. There's no real attempt by the Democrats to reach out. They don't even view Trump as a legitimate president. They view him as a buffoon, but they're the buffoons. They view him as this bumbling buffoon, but they're really the buffoons, not Trump. Trump's not the buffoon here. It's the Democratic Party. They're going to lose miserably. Trump announced last September he would terminate DACA by March 5th. But multiple federal courts are keeping the program in place until the Federal Appeals Court and the Supreme Court weigh in. It's Trump with the political momentum on this issue, and he's reaching out. But Democrats don't care. They're like, no, we have power. You have no power. You don't control Congress, and you're going to lose again, and you're going to lose the House. The House will remain Republican. Democrats, I don't care what 538 and all the other polls say. I don't care what, Sabato or Cook or, Cenk Uygur. They're all going to be wrong, like they were wrong before 2016 when I was right. It'll be a Groundhog's Day, the same thing over again. I wrote in the Daily Caller. I was on RT's Crosstalk explaining. My article in the Daily Caller below explains. Republicans are 8-2 in special elections. They're 8-2. Democrats are 2-8. We already had special elections, and Democrats lost each and every one of them. Each and every one of these special elections. Each and every one was supposed to be a referendum on Trump. It's a referendum on Trump. It's a referendum on Trump. You lost almost every one. The only two you won, you barely won. And then they say, well, we got close. This means a blue wave. No, you got close because all of media, including Hollywood, including late night, including the subsidiary publications. So you have the Washington Post, then you have the Daily Beast, you have the New York Times, then you have BuzzFeed and everybody else. All of them in unison express daily pure and unadulterated hatred of Trump. A just pure hatred, contempt. If they could launch Trump into one of the Space Force spaceships, they would do it. They can't stand him. They hate him with the passion of 20, 30, 100 Peter Strzok's. There's zero objectivity, which is why the polls are all over the place. You can't have a blue wave, by the way, with 6 to 8 Senate seats being won by Republicans. Hello? Because guess what? It's the same stupid ballot. Dummies. So in states like Florida or in states like California, where you have John Cox, big John Cox of California, surging up the polls, the big Cox surging up the polls, John Cox could win it. You're going to go to the polls for John Cox. You're going to go to the polls for DeSantis. You're going to go to the polls for Donnelly. You're going to go to the polls for Rosendale. You're going to go to the polls for Hawley in Missouri, and you're going to go and if you're going for just for the senator, you're going to look down and, oh, by the way, what's my district? Oh, look, the Republican. Who's going to vote for a Republican senator and a Democratic congresswoman or congressman? That's stupid. But Democrats are stupid. They are psyching themselves up so then they can talk about gerrymandering and voter suppression. That's how they do things. Because they can't possibly say, yeah, we're done. Like my two of my buddies, very intelligent guys, they're Democrats. Every single one. That's every single one. I'm like, you heard this here first. Democrats are going to lose. Republicans are going to keep the House, and they're going to gain in the Senate. Well, what do you got to say to that? And both of my friends are like, yeah, we know. At separate times, they're like, yeah, we know. Like, they know. They know. Like, the people who really understand what's going on, they know. So this is important. You actually had a chance, Democratic Party, at doing something. Irene, thank you. You had a chance at getting a major victory for your side. And I have friends who are dreamers. I want them to be citizens. And if you had offered Trump the money that he wanted for that wall, you would have also received, okay, you know what? Obviously, you're not going to deport their parents if they're citizens. So some kind of pathway to citizenship for the parents as well. And then you build the border wall and you don't have, caravans. You don't have other issues. and you have a protection and you have a protection from drugs, narcotics, trafficking, illegal activity at the border. But they didn't want that. Nancy Pelosi confronted by immigration rights protesters about her DACA talks with Trump. Well, of course she's confronted. She's confronted because they stand for nothing. They don't want to make a deal. Pelosi, if she was smart, could have simply said, well, look, we know you're not going to give 11 million citizenship, but you know what? If just promise that you will allow the parents of the DACA recipients who will get citizenship, promise that you will allow them to have a pathway to citizenship. And then Trump could say yes without, taking too much heat from conservatives. And then a good percentage of the 11 million would have been, um, you know, or at least some of the 11 million here would have been addressed, but they didn't want that. So they didn't want that. This is Bloomberg. Why Pelosi is rolling the dice for Dreamers. Democrats in the Senate can be bipartisan. They don't have the option. They don't have that option in the House. Well, why not? Most Americans don't think that securing a future for Dreamers, the undocumented immigrants who were brought to the U.S. as children, is worth the price of shutting down the federal government. Is Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi like most people? Pelosi performed the House equivalent of a Senate filibuster today, using her prerogative as party leader to speak indefinitely on the House floor for hours. She's still there, as I write. She read letters from immigrants who had grown up in the U.S. but are now anxious under Donald Trump's anti-immigration administration that they might be deported. Well, then make a deal. Then make a deal with Trump for citizenship. But you didn't want to do that. You did not want to do that. You did not want to do that. You didn't do that. And so now we are in a situation where people are suffering on both sides of the issue. A court order has, for now, eased the threat to the roughly 700,000 Dreamers who were registered with the government, but with Trump in the White House, it sure hasn't removed it. That Pelosi feels this more keenly than Schumer may be a function. So Pelosi, whose meager communication skills prompt many to underestimate her leadership skills, may not have an endgame. Imagine if you were described in this way. Pelosi, whose meager communication skills prompt many to underestimate her leadership skills, okay, may not have an endgame. So she's a bad communicator. She doesn't have an endgame, but possibly she has leadership skills. After all, talking for hours on end is generally a sign that you have nothing else up your sleeve, pretty much. So it is important to remember that you're dealing with a Democratic Party that had a chance. They had a chance to do something special, and they didn't. The immigration debate from Reagan until now is in large part also a function of Americans giving jobs to undocumented immigrants. That's just a fact. You can there's two sides to look at that, and there's two sides to look at that fact. But Democrats, when the last major immigration bill, when was the last major immigration bill Democrats had or offered? So let's see. Congress has not passed a major immigration bill, or they tried to at least. So how we got here, the many attempts at immigration reform. This is 2016. From 1994, check this out. This is really interesting. This is the Democratic Party that they should make this a yearly issue, like a perennial issue. From 65, 86, 94, 96. Now from 2001, 2005, how many times during Obama's administration you had a bunch of attempts? 2006, 2006 under Bush of all people. 07, you had the last one under Bush in 08. July. I'm trying to get this back. July of 08. Australian news, Aussie J. What the heck? Trump will let 1.8 million stay in the U.S., but he lets the. Yep. Well, here's the thing, Aussie J. I don't think that I agree 100% with you, but I don't think that. I think that the Mueller probe, the Comey letter, is what really did Clinton in. The Comey letter is what did Clinton in. The WikiLeaks, DNC, and Podesta emails, that just shed a light for progressives, most of whom just, fell in line. But I agree with you. It just so happened that what was published exposed Democratic Party corruption. But all you have is 2010, 2012, 2013, 2014. 1, 2, 3, 4 times in 8 years. It should have been 8 times in 8 years. And actually, wait, it was only 3 times actually, because you had 2010 with a bill, and through 2012 with the DREAM Act, and 2013. So really 3 attempts at major legislation. Really just 3 attempts. Fort your asses, open board. I think that, you need borders, but you also need, I would say, a moral or compassionate. It is good. You don't want to have a situation where people who are essentially American are deported or not, because, you are. If a person is completely American and loves American culture, they should be a citizen if they grew up here, in my view. Adambomb 31458, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Patty. I agree. It's just Democrats don't want to give that win. They're very petulant. They're petulant. It's kind of like, it's like somebody that might like if you know somebody who would benefit from helping you but doesn't because it whatever they're doing might help you. That's petulance. Democrats are petulant. Let's look up the word petulant. Democrats are the height of petulance. Petulance. The quality of being sulky or bad tempered. Oh, they love to be snarky and sulky. Peevishness. They're just petulant. They just don't they don't want to. They're like, you can't make us do anything. Meanwhile, everyone suffers on your like at least Trump, at least what Trump does is he represents for his side. You might not agree with everything he stands for, but he represents. You might not agree with everything he stands for, but at least he represents. Not like Democrats who don't represent and their failures as everything you want in a person. Failures who aren't loyal and who complain all the time. Hello, Tommy. But that's one reason why Democrats will lose in the midterms, because they don't really have any legislative victories. Trump does. He got his tax cuts. The tax cuts are helping the economy. He signed a whole bunch of legislation. One for veterans, whistleblowers. Jobs for our hero. Another one for Jobs for Our Heroes Act. Law makes it easier for veterans to apply for commercial driver's license. Combating trafficking. So these are all the laws he signed. What, like 20 or 30, more than that? How many laws? In his first, what am I saying? In his first year in his first year in office, President Donald Trump signed 117 bills into law. So, I mean, how do you say this monster? Oh my God. He signed 117 bills into law in his first year. So how many bills has Trump signed in his first 500 days? 176 bills as of June. That's about on par with Barack Obama at his point in his presidency and slightly behind George W. Bush. So this monster, this maniac, he's a maniac. He's Trumpy. And I don't know how long we're going to last. So the guy signs 174 bills. Many helping veterans, 320,000 jobs, manufacturing jobs have come back. And oh my God, his personality is so boorish. Oh my God. Oh. Oh, I just miss when Obama would say that we have to defend Libya and destroy, and then it promptly destroys the country with the NATO bombing. That was what we should have all the time. 3 million jobs have been created since President Trump took office. Nearly 3 million jobs. Let's look at this monster. He's a monster. Nearly 3 million jobs have been created. This is the Washington Examiner. Over 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Over 337 construction jobs have been created. Unemployment rate has dropped to 3.8%. Consumer confidence is a 17-year high. Optimism among manufacturers has hit record highs. No, you know what? We got to flip the house. We have to protect us. We have to protect this country from this, orange tyrant. Oh, he's so horrible. He's so horrible. Ray Chu. Note that it was HRC who caused the problems in Honduras. Yep. Berta Caceres. Yep. Now they caravan. Absolutely. That's a great point. Great point, Ray Truth. Yes, thank you. Okay, let me move away if the volume is shooting up. Okay, so let's see. You know what? Let's go ahead. All right, so let's see. American families received $33.2 trillion in gross tax cuts and saw the child tax credit double. So they're like, well, only the 1% benefited. No, everyone did. Well, they benefit the most. Yeah, because they're super wealthy. What do you want? Well, if they're not as wealthy, then we'll benefit. What? What does that even mean? I mean, it's pretty. If you're a conservative, and then if you're Jewish or if you care about Israel, he moved the embassy to Jerusalem. I know that's a big problem to a lot of people on the left, but I can tell you that more Jewish voters will vote for Trump. A lot more. I can tell you that. The Iran deal was a bad deal, and I want peace with Iran. But it just was 23 ballistic missiles. It wasn't a good deal. Peace between North and South Korea is a very good thing. Very, very good thing. He's objectively a good president. 3 million new jobs were created. And you can't say, well, the job growth under Obama would have continued. Well, how do you know? Okay. It's like, okay. How did it go from 3,000 to 5,000? How does that work? Trying to hear. Oh my God. This is like this. Do you ever think this is a good thing? It's like that makes no sense. Okay, it's not. Now it's just not about, Thank you, Sean. November 6th is going to be great because they won't be able to they really won't be able to They won't be able to spin anything. They'll be in complete meltdown mode. Trump's quietly growing list of victories. This was the Atlantic. Last four. This was before January 18th, 2018. This was almost last year. I mean, it's the beginning of the year. The last 4 months have been by far the most productive of his presidency. Well, they also proved to be the high water mark. I love how like the Washington Post. Let's take a look at the odd list of Trump's accomplishments on Fox and Friends, shall we? Moving the embassy to Jerusalem. Oh, horrible, horrible. Leaving the Iran deal. Oh my God, horrible. Release of prisoners and summit with Kim Jong Un. Well, golly gee, nothing really happened. Rising approval ratings. Well, he's still a horrible person. Two judges rebuke Mueller investigation. Well, look at Manafort. He was like he had ostrich skin jackets. Making the economy great again. Let's see what like the Washington Post. I mean, everything is just denigrated. Experts debate the extent to which Trump's provocations towards North Korea led to the recent fall between North Korea and the United States. That's the best you're going to get from the the Washington Post. Really, the best you're going to get. Really, that's it. You're not going to get any better than that. Frank, I am all over the place lately. Just want to say hello. Thank you, Frank. Thank you so much. Hope all is well. Be here, Frank. Frank, be here November 6, 2018. Trump rallies the nail on the cherry on top. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Frank, thank you. I mean, I'm expecting it could be more than 2,500 people for November 6th when we finally win. Oh my God, when we finally win. When we finally win. I mean, my God. 2 years of this crap. 2 years I had to deal with this. We're going to get Trump right away. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, I want to let you know about Trump and his ties to Russia. Trump and this, Trump and that, Trump and this, Trump, 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 Trump. Thank you, Don R. Thank you. Thank you, Don. Thank you to everyone. I'm not very well known, but I'm very, very fortunate and blessed to have so many great people watching this channel and listening to my voice. And thank you so much. And I like to think that as my voice grows, your voice grows as well. I've just been this little like mosquito buzzing around, and I'm like, Hillary's gonna lose. Nobody listened. And then like 2017, I'm like, Mueller probe and Russia is nonsense. Now we know. And I'm just like going overboard with the midterms thing because I told everyone she'd lose in 2015, but people were like, whatever. Who cares? You said Clinton would get indicted. Well, yeah. So did Strzok. Strzok thought that also. That's why he completely basically hid evidence by saying that, or exonerated her by saying, well, she didn't mean to do it. She was too stupid to indict. So what can you do? She was just extremely careless, They think that's like a rebuttal to me, like, you said she was going to get indicted. Nah. Yeah, you know she should have been. The funny thing is, like, Democrats also, like, they think that just because a person is an immigrant, they're like, they don't want a wall. But that if you I've spoken to immigrants before, they're like, oh, I don't care about a wall. They just want to be citizen, which is, normal. Like, if you live in a country, you want the country to prosper. You see Politicon, like, I haven't seen I haven't seen um it's just interesting how, like, Democrats, they make so many wrong um they make so many wrong predictions. Make so many wrong so many flawed um so much flawed analysis. And thank God we're going to win. It is going to be, think about it. When we win, think about how jubilant, how euphoric, how it's almost like a dream, like Freddy Krueger can't hurt you anymore. Because, okay, let's look at it this way. They've already given up on the Senate, but it's the same ballot. If you're voting for a Republican senator, you're going to vote for. So Republican turnout is going to be boosted. Is going to increase exponentially. Elizabeth Luker, thank you. JMC, I apologize. I didn't see JMC. I didn't see. Oh, JMC. HA, please advise. I apologize. HA, please advise on Senate and House races that we should focus our donation on to help GOP. I want the Dems. Jana, thank you. Just, I would say just your House race, your district, and I mean, you don't have to worry about anything. The Republicans have already won the House, so now it's just JMC. Just Jana, be here on November 6th on this channel. Tell your husband, tell your boyfriend, tell your kids, tell your cousins, tell everybody. Okay, everyone, tell your boyfriend, tell your girlfriend, tell your wife, tell your husband. Now, if you have a husband and a boyfriend, don't tell them both. Or you could tell them. I guess you could tell them both, but I'm joking. If you have a wife and a girlfriend, don't tell them both at the same time, but just have them different computers, different places, for goodness sakes. But you know what I mean, Frank. Frank, I don't want to meet any Martians. I don't like that. I don't like that because guess what? I am Sylar. Frank, if we meet Martians and if everyone, Michio Kaku, Stephen Hawking, Neil deGrasse Tyson, everyone who has stated this, if Martians, if alien life forms from outer space, if they get to the planet, that means they're so far advanced from us, they would look at us like, like little tiny creatures with no power, because they would be so much more powerful and intelligent than we are. And they would probably be like, Earth, weak. They should just have fun destroying it. I'm reading some cool stuff. Let's see. Let's see here. hmm. Exactly. Christian philosopher. The proof of intelligent alien life is that they haven't contacted us. Pretty much. That's 100%. That's the best I've ever. That's the best thing I've ever heard. That's true. If you're an intelligent life form and you're contacting Earth, you're stupid. You're not an intelligent life form. You have nothing better to do with yourself. I mean, why would you contact this planet? That's pretty dumb. And Hillary's running again. So, and I called it. So, just list the things that I've called. You're welcome, America. Just like that Will Ferrell. You're welcome, America. They're so, you know what, the interesting thing also is that, well, how are they going to react? How are they going to react to losing? That's the interesting thing. How on earth are they going to react to losing? And it's like, what, and what's Michael Avenatti doing? Like, he he took a picture of Laura Loomer, and it's fine. It's just a picture of her body. She looks great. I don't know what the problem is. He thinks that that's some kind of like rebuttal. What is he trying to say? If you looked at Avenatti with his shirt off, like, he doesn't look buff or, look like he has a whole, muscles, or I don't know. Like, what's he trying to do? I think she looks fine. She looks great. I'm looking at the picture right here, and he. I have no idea what his problem is. I really have no idea what his problem is. That's lame. He tweets out a picture. He tweets out a picture. I'm just going to say right here. I think Loomer looks great. It's just, it's like, I think Laura Loomer looks great. It's a great picture. It just a great picture. Like, I don't get that. Like, this guy is like, I have no idea what his deal is. So I don't know. Like, it's like, what's the deal with, like, she looks fine. She looks beautiful. No problem. You have this guy who, oh, whatever. Then you have the same people making the same predictions. And they don't realize that they're heading towards the biggest defeat They're heading towards the biggest defeat in, I mean, one of the biggest defeats in Democratic political history, along with 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Count Chocula. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be like, just take a trip into the future with me for a second. It is the first live stream at around, I would say, 9 p.m. 9:30, latest 10 p.m. on November 6, 2018 on H.A. Goodman's channel. Weve Won. Imagine how that's going to feel, and imagine the how's the Democratic Party in a great economy, with a failed Russian hacking hoax myth that everyone knows is a failed political attempt purchased by Hillary Clinton, by the way, with astronomical approval rating for Trump within the Republican Party, with a 2-8 record against Republicans that foreshadowed. I mean, I don't know if they're going to get 20 seats, 15 seats, or 10 seats, or 5 seats. I don't even know if Republicans could actually gain in the House. But what I do know is that the Democrats are not going to get 23 seats when the last time they received more than 21 seats was 2006. In 2006, Hillary Clinton had a favorable rating nationally. More people liked her. Okay. The last time they got more than 21 seats, and they got 21 seats in 2008. TB, thank you. God bless everyone. We're going to have a great party November 6th. Just think about that. Think about how awesome. Mr. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you. We're just going to have a great time. We're going to have a great time. And Regento has an awesome, already 2,000 views for my, let's do the loser mix. Democrat loser mix. Hold on. 2018. Regento, my man, thank you. 2018, Dems will lose again. The Democrats will lose. Democrats are going to lose again. They know this. Democrats lost again. Losers. You're going to lose as always. They will lose on November 6, 2018. Democrats are going to lose. The Democratic Party is going to lose in the midterms. Democrats will lose. Democrats will not win the House. Democrats will lose again. Losers, insidious, vile, disgusting losers. And once the Democrats lose on November 6, 2018, the Democratic implosion, the Democrats will lose in the midterms. I can't wait. Losers. And this is why Democrats are pulling out all the stops, because they're going to lose. Losers lose miserably. They spend $1 billion, Democrats, they'll lose again, which is hilarious. It really doesn't matter, they're going to lose anyway. Regento on Twitter is so awesome. And look at me when I'm talking to you. Look at me right now. Are you looking at me? I'll be right about midterms. Lose miserably. After Democrats
lose and Republicans keep the House, are going to have a party because they will lose. Republicans will, everything they spent 2 years for will be flushed down the blue wave toilet. Losers. Lord. Oh, my eyes closed. Okay, Lord. When Democrats lose miserably, insidious, vile, disgusting losers. Look at me right now. I'll be right about midterms. Democrats, all they do is lose, 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 no matter what. No matter what they lose. Losers, lose miserably. Look into my eyes. Losers. We are winning at such a high level. They were telling you that Hillary was going to win. I was telling you on this channel and in my writing that Hillary
He
was
did a
gonna
great
lose.
job with that, I tell
And
you.
I was right. And I was right. Losers are going to have a party after they lose miserably.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. It's just going to be so awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless. Thank you so very, very much. Be here on this channel, November 6th, 2018. We are going to have a party. It's going to be awesome. To my super chat, thank you so very, 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 very much. And thank you, everyone. God bless. See you tomorrow.